Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. President Ramnath Kovind inaugurates National Conference of Women Legislators in Thiruvananthapuram today. Lauds the role of women in the Constituent Assembly of India, of which 3 were from Kerala. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address graduation ceremony of postgraduate program of 2022 at Indian School of Business in Hyderabad, to also inaugurate several completed projects worth 2,960 crore rupees and lay foundation stones for new projects in Chennai worth 28,540 crore rupees. India's biggest drone festival, Bharat Drone Mahotsav 2022, to be inaugurated by Prime Minister tomorrow in New Delhi. Vinay Kumar Saxena takes oath as Lieutenant Governor of Delhi today. Enforcement Directorate conducts raids at premises belonging to Maharashtra Transport Minister Anil Parab, also files charge sheet against Karnataka Congress President D.K. Shivakumar and others in an alleged money laundering case. In Jammu and Kashmir, 3 Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists neutralized by security forces in an encounter in Kupwara district this morning. In French Open, Indo-Dutch pair of Rohan Bopanna and Matwé Middlecope advanced to second round of men's doubles event, and Sania Mirza with Lucy Rajecha to begin women's double campaign today. India to face Indonesia in a must-win encounter in the last group match of the Asia Cup 2022 in Jakarta today. And in IPL cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore to face Rajasthan Royals in the Qualifier 2 match at Narendra Modi Stadium, Ahmedabad tomorrow. President Ramnath Kovind has said that India's freedom struggle has laid the foundation for gender equality in the country. He recalled the inspiring contributions of women who made relentless fight for liberation from colonialism. He was addressing the National Conference of Women Legislators in Thiruvananthapuram today. The President said women are entering more challenging spheres of life, and as a powerful force, women have shown their might in help fighting out the COVID-19 pandemic in the country.
National Women Legislatures Conference is being held when the nation is preparing to commemorate the 75th anniversary of our independence. Under Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, we have been holding memorial events for more than a year now. People's enthusiastic participation in various functions shows their zeal to connect with the past and rediscover for themselves the foundations of our republic.
Hailing Kerala's women empowerment initiatives, President Ramnath Kovind noted that of the 15 women the Constituent Assembly had, 3 were from Kerala. He contended that women have always participated in the freedom struggle of the country starting from the 19th century.
In the saga of our freedom movement, women played a stellar part. India's efforts to be freed from the shackles of an exploitative colonial rule began long ago. Even in the middle of the 19th century, while there were only men, Rani Lakshmibai was the most notable among them, but there were many more like her fighting bravely against the unjust rule. That period was marked by countless uprisings across the country against foreign rule. They were of local nature, but they were also animated by nationalist aspirations. Equally, they all were marked by women's wholehearted participation in them.
The President said the non-cooperation movement and Quit Media movement have had remarkable participation by women under the able guidance of Gandhiji. He spoke about the contribution made by Kasturba Gandhi, Sarojini Naidu and Kamala Devi Chattopadhyay.
Among the first women satyagrahis was Kasturba. Given the larger-than-life personality of her life partner, her own contribution to the nation tends to be ignored. She was not only the better half of the father of the nation, she was an inspiration to many women right from her days in South Africa. Also consider the Salt March to Dandi, the great event that changed the course of history. When Gandhiji was arrested, he chose to pass the mantle of leadership of this campaign to Sarojini Naidu. A great orator and poet, Naidu led by example and gladly faced a jail sentence. And how can we forget her associate, Kamala Devi Chattopadhyay? She was among the first women to contest elections, and she thus lit a torch that you have been carrying forward in India's today's times.
He said there are many inspiring women who participated in the freedom movement and went on to speak of the contributions made by Bhikaji Kama and Lakshmi Sehgal. He spoke of the contribution of Hansaben Jeevraj Mehta to the cause of women's empowerment and how she taught the world the first lesson in gender equality.
When the glorious day of freedom came closer and the Constituent Assembly got together to draft a constitution for the nation, notable among this group was Hansaben Jeevraj Mehta, also a social reformer and educationist. Her contribution to the cause of women's empowerment goes well beyond the boundaries of India. Hansaben was also India's delegate to the UN Human Rights Commission when the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was being drafted. It was due to her intervention that the opening line was changed from all men are created equal. This was amended to all human beings are created equal.
The President also said that India accomplished a rare distinction of offering universal adult franchise to all its adult citizens, including women. Women not only voted in elections but also contested, and 24 of them were elected to the first Lok Sabha in 1952. Governor Arif Mohammad Khan presided over the inaugural function held at the Kerala Legislative Complex. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan, Ministers, Speaker M.B. Rajesh, Opposition Leader V.D. Satishan, Members of Parliament, Legislative Councils and prominent women personalities were among those present. The two-day conference hosted by the Kerala Legislative Assembly is the first national event of this kind to be held in the country. It will have various sessions on themes vital to women legislators. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived at Begumpet Airport in Hyderabad this afternoon. Governor Dr. Tamilisai Soundararajan, Telangana State Ministers accorded a warm welcome to the Prime Minister. State BJP leaders also accorded grand welcome to the Prime Minister on the occasion. Mr. Modi today called upon BJP cadres to fight out family parties as they harm the democratic system of the country. He assured them that Telangana state will be developed and fondly recalled and lauded the determination of the people of the state. Mr. Modi also paid tributes to the martyrs who sacrificed their lives during the statehood agitation. The Prime Minister will be visiting the Indian School of Business, ISB, to take part in its 20th annual celebrations and the graduation ceremony of the post-graduation program of 2022. He will address the students of both Hyderabad and Mohali campuses of ISB, one of the finest management institutions of the country. He will also award medals to some of the academic scholars of excellence on the occasion. Elaborate security arrangements have been made for the Prime Minister's visit to Hyderabad. The police have prohibited flying of remote-controlled drones, paragliders and light aircraft about 5 kilometers around the ISB, and traffic restrictions have been imposed on some routes. IT and other offices located around the areas allowed employees to work from home on police advice. Later, the Prime Minister will proceed to Chennai. In a major boost to the country's infrastructure, Mr. Modi will lay the foundation stone for 6 key projects worth 28,540 crore rupees at a function in Chennai this evening. He will also dedicate to the nation 5 projects that have been completed at a cost of 2,960 crore rupees. The total expenditure on all the 11 projects are worth 31,500 crore rupees. Some of the completed projects include the third broad gauge line connecting Tambaram and Chengalpattu on the periphery of Chennai. Another is the 75-kilometer long Madurai-Theni gauge conversion project that has been executed at a cost of over 500 crore rupees. The Prime Minister will hand over the keys of 1,152 houses constructed at a cost of 116 crore rupees as part of the Lighthouse project in Chennai under the urban component of the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana to beneficiaries. He will lay the foundation stone for the ambitious Chennai-Bengaluru Expressway worth 14,870 crore rupees that covers parts of Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka. The Prime Minister will also inaugurate the works on the redevelopment of the 5 railway stations at Chennai, Egmore, Rameshwaram, Madurai, Katpadi and Kanyakumari. Security in Chennai has been tightened in view of the Prime Minister's function. More from our Chennai correspondent.
As Prime Minister Narendra Modi, 3 state chief ministers and several union ministers participate in today's mega event in Chennai, security has been tightened in and around the city. Drones and other unmanned aerial vehicles have been banned over the city skies. Hotels and lodging houses are being scanned for any suspicious movement of people. Major rail and bus terminals are also being kept under close watch. Meanwhile, the program venue at the Jawaharlal Nehru Indoor Stadium is decked up for the inauguration of the 5 completed projects and the laying of foundation stones for the 11 major infrastructure projects there. The projects are set to provide a major boost to economic development in the region as they cut across several sectors including railways, roads, gas pipelines and housing. Some of the works that are to be taken up, including the Chennai Port to Madurai double-decker elevated road project, are all set to change the face of Chennai. Jai Singh, AR News, Chennai.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate India's biggest drone festival, Bharat Drone Mahotsav 2022 tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Pragati Maidan in New Delhi. The Prime Minister will interact with Kisan drone pilots. He will witness open-air drone demonstrations and interact with startups in the Drone Exhibition Centre. Vinay Kumar Saxena today took oath as the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. Acting Chief Justice of Delhi High Court Vipin Sanghi administered the oath of office in secrecy to Mr. Saxena at a function organized at Raj Nivas. He will be the 21st LG of Delhi. Earlier, Mr. Saxena was the chairman of Khadi and Village Industries Commission. President Ramnath Kovind had appointed Vinay Kumar Saxena as new LG of Delhi following the resignation of Anil Baijal as Lieutenant Governor of the National Capital Territory of Delhi. The Enforcement Directorate ED is conducting raids today on 7 premises belonging to Maharashtra Transport Minister Anil Parab. The raids have been conducted regarding a land deal case. It is to be noted that ED had summoned Parab earlier also, and after questioning for long hours, he was allowed to go home. ED has registered a new case under the criminal sections of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act (PMLA) against Parab.
The Enforcement Directorate has filed a charge sheet against Karnataka Congress President D.K. Shivakumar and others in the alleged money laundering case. The prosecution complaint is filed under various sections of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act before a Delhi court today before a special judge. The case is based on Income Tax Department charge sheet filed against Shivakumar and others for alleged tax evasion and hawala dealings. The IT department has accused Shivakumar and his associate S.K. Sharma of transporting huge amounts of unaccounted cash through hawala channels with the help of 3 other accused. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, 3 Pakistani terrorists affiliated with terror outfit Lashkar-e-Taiba have been killed by security forces in an encounter in North Kashmir's Kupwara district this morning. Kashmir Zone Police in a tweet said Kupwara Police, on the basis of a specific input regarding infiltration attempt of terrorists in village Jumagund of North Kashmir's Kupwara district, an encounter had started when the infiltrating terrorists were intercepted by the army and J&K police. Incriminating materials, including arms and ammunition, have also been recovered from the possession of the slain terrorists. Meanwhile, Inspector General of Police Kashmir Range Vijay Kumar said so far 26 foreign terrorists, including 14 Jaish-e-Mohammed and 12 Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists, have been neutralized by security forces in different counter operations this year.
Over 192 crore 82 lakh doses of COVID vaccines have been administered in the country under the nationwide vaccination drive so far. More than 13,000 COVID vaccine doses were administered to the eligible beneficiaries yesterday. Meanwhile, the country has reported 2,628 new cases during the last 24 hours. You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. President Ramnath Kovind inaugurates National Conference of Women Legislators in Thiruvananthapuram today, lauds the role of women in the Constituent Assembly of India, of which 3 were from Kerala. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address graduation ceremony of postgraduate program of 2022 at Indian School of Business in Hyderabad, to also inaugurate several completed projects worth 2,960 crore rupees and lay foundation stones for new projects in Chennai worth 28,540 crore rupees. India's biggest drone festival, Bharat Drone Mahotsav 2022, to be inaugurated by Prime Minister tomorrow in New Delhi. Vinay Kumar Saxena takes oath as Lieutenant Governor of Delhi today. Enforcement Directorate conducts raids at premises belonging to Maharashtra Transport Minister Anil Parab, also files charge sheet against Karnataka Congress President D.K. Shivakumar and others in an alleged money laundering case. In Jammu and Kashmir, 3 Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists neutralized by security forces in an encounter in Kupwara district this morning. In French Open, Indo-Dutch pair of Rohan Bopanna and Matway Middlecoop advanced to the second round of the men's doubles event, and Sania Mirza and Lucy Radeka to begin women's double campaign today. India to face Indonesia in a must-win encounter, the last group match of the Asia Cup 2022 in Jakarta today. And in IPL cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore to face Rajasthan Royals in the Qualifier 2 match at the Narendra Modi Stadium, Ahmedabad tomorrow. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
कंपटीशन की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तैयारी, तो उनके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पर हम लाए हैं अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जिसमें आप पूछेंगे सवाल व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर, या फिर ईमेल करेंगे abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर, और हमारे विशेषज्ञ देंगे इसका जवाब। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
Welcome back to the Midday News. The Yogi Adityanath government in Uttar Pradesh today presented the first budget of its second term. It was also the biggest ever budget of the state, to the tune of around 6,15,000 crore rupees. AIR Lucknow correspondent reports that the budget lended the much-needed traction to the promises made by the BJP in its Lok Kalyan Patra before state polls. It includes many new announcements like metro in Varanasi and Gorakhpur, ropeway and international stadium in Varanasi. 1,000 crore rupees have been allocated in the budget for CM Laghu Sinchai Yojana, which aims to provide free irrigation facility to the farmers of the state in the next 5 years. Addressing a press conference after the budget, UP CM Yogi Adityanath said that the budget is for the overall development of the state.
ये लोक कल्याण संकल्प पत्र में कुल 130 घोषणाएं हुई थी। इन 130 जो संकल्प हमारे लोक कल्याण संकल्प पत्र में थे, उसमें से 97 संकल्पों को हम लोगों ने इस बजट में पहले ही बजट में स्थान दिया है, और इसके लिए हम लोगों ने 54,883 करोड़ रुपए का भी प्रावधान किया है।
Road Transport and Highways Ministry has issued notification pertaining to base premium for third-party insurance for unlimited liability. The ministry, in consultation with the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, has published Motor Vehicles Third-Party Insurance Base Premium and Liability Rules 2022 yesterday. The rules will come into force on the 1st of next month.
Railways Minister Ashwini Vaishnav will honour Railway Protection Force RPF personnel awarded with the President's Medal for Gallantry, Police Medal for Meritorious Service, President's Police Medal for Distinguished Service and Jeevan Raksha series of medals in New Delhi tomorrow. These awards are bestowed upon deserving personnel of the force for their contribution in the service of the nation. Railways Ministry said these award winners will inspire other force members to work with greater dedication. RPF is not only entrusted with the responsibility of security of railway property, but also passengers and passenger area. It has emerged as a force with compassion, as it has been helping women, children, elderly, differently abled and others in need of care and protection coming in contact with the railways. And now let's listen to a special program Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
In today's episode, we remember transnational freedom fighter Champakaraman Pillai, who died on the 26th of May 1934. Pillai was the forerunner of Ras Bihari Bose and Subhash Chandra Bose in organizing an Indian army abroad to strike against the imperialist British force at home. Pillai is credited with coining of the salutation and slogan Jai Hind.
Champakaraman Pillai was born on the 15th of September 1891 at Cochin in Kerala. Even during his student days, he was quite attracted to books and periodicals preaching nationalism and heard the speeches of all political leaders who were in the forefront of the freedom movement. The personality of Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak and his writings in his journal Kesari turned Champakaraman into a patriot and revolutionary. When Tilak was arrested and sentenced to transportation, Champakaraman was deeply moved and took a pledge to dedicate his life at the altar of the motherland, fighting for her freedom. Champakaraman came into contact with an Englishman who was working as a spy for the Germans, and with the latter's help he left the shores of India when he was just a lad of 17 years.
Champakaraman first went to Colombo and from there to Switzerland. At Zurich, he completed his education and took a doctorate in engineering. When the First World War broke out, Pillai, with the help of the German embassy, formed the International Pro-India Committee in 1914, with Zurich as its headquarters and himself as the president. Pillai moved to Berlin in October 1914 and started the Indian Independence Committee. Many prominent Indian revolutionaries abroad, including Lala Hardayal, Taraknath Das, Barkatullah, Dr. Chandrakant Chakravarti, Dr. Bhupendranath Dutt, Dr. Prabhakar, Virendra Chattopadhyay, Virendra Sarkar and Hirambalal Gupta joined him to work out the program.
Champakaraman Pillai won the confidence of the Germans and led the operations of German Navy in the Indian Ocean. The British government announced a reward of £1 lakh to anyone who would capture Champakaraman Pillai and hand him over. But the brave son of India always eluded them.
Pillai founded the Indian National Volunteer Corps during the First World War and prescribed military uniform and discipline to the volunteers. In July 1914, Pillai gave a message from Berlin to the Indian soldiers that it was time for them to rise in revolt and fight the British for the emancipation of the motherland. Later, in 1919, when Champakaraman Pillai met Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose in Vienna, he explained his plan of action to Netaji Subhash. It is believed that Subhash Chandra Bose chose the path shown by Champakaraman Pillai and fulfilled his dream by organizing the Indian National Army during the Second World War.
Champakaraman Pillai had the privilege of being Minister of the Provisional Government of India set up in Afghanistan in December 1915 with Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh of Kabul as President. However, the defeat of the Germans in the war shattered their hopes. After the First World War ended, the relationship between the Germans and self-respecting Indian revolutionaries was strained.
He fell a victim to the wrath of the Nazis, as it is believed that he was slowly poisoned by them. Pillai died on May the 26th, 1934. His wife, Lakshmi Bai, underwent indescribable sufferings as the Nazis made her life miserable. But she preserved Pillai's ashes, his diary and secret documents. As per Pillai's last wish, Lakshmi Bai brought back his ashes to India, where they were ceremonially immersed in Kanyakumari with full state honors. All India Radio salutes the great freedom fighter.
We also remember independence activist Muhammad Yusuf Naqshbandi, who was martyred on the 26th of May 1946. Born in 1923 in Srinagar, Jammu and Kashmir, Naqshbandi was a committed political worker. He actively joined the political movement for responsible government in Jammu and Kashmir in 1946. Naqshbandi was killed at the Khanqa-e-Maula in Srinagar on the 26th of May 1946 in the state army's firing on a procession he joined to protest against the Maharaja's tyrannical rule. We salute the great son of the soil.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
In Rajasthan, environmental clearance has been received for sandstone mining at Bansi, Paharpur in Bharatpur district. This permission has been given by the state-level Environment Impact Assessment Authority. According to an official release, 12 out of the total 41 mining leaseholders will be able to start mining work soon. In view of the increasing demand for pink and red stones of Bansi, Paharpur across the country, Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot had directed to stop illegal mining and make all possible efforts to allow legal mining. The Meghalaya Board of School Education today declared the results of the higher secondary school leaving certificate examination for science, commerce and vocational streams. The AIADMK in Tamil Nadu has announced its two candidates for the forthcoming biennial elections for the Rajya Sabha. They are the former Law Minister, Mr. C.V. Shanmugam, and the President of a Panchayat Union in Ramanad District, Mr. R. Dharmar. 6 seats in the upper house of the Parliament fall vacant this time, for which the DMK has named 3 candidates, leaving another seat to its alliance partner, the Congress. If there is a competition, then polling will be held on the 10th of next month, and the results are expected to be announced the same day.
World Bank Chief David Malpass has warned that Russia-Ukraine conflict could cause a global recession as the price of food, energy and fertilizers are increasing exponentially. He also said a series of coronavirus lockdowns in China are adding to concerns about a slowdown. Mr. Malpass told today that Germany, the biggest economy in Europe and the 4th largest in the world, is suffering due to high prices of energy. Mr. Malpass said developing countries have also been affected by shortages of fertilizer, food and energy. In French Open tennis, world number 1 Novak Djokovic and number 3 seed Alexander Zverev, 6 seed Carlos Alcaraz have progressed to the men's singles third round. In the mixed doubles, 10-seeded Sania Mirza with her Croatian partner Ivan Dodig defeated German-Mexican pair of Laura Sigmund in the first round. The pair of Sania Mirza and Lucy Radeka will begin the women's doubles campaign today. India's Rohan Bopanna will be in action in the mixed doubles with Andrea Klepac tomorrow. India face hosts Indonesia in a must-win encounter in the last group match of the Asia Cup 2022 in Jakarta today. The match will begin at 5 p.m. IST. A preview of the crucial match from a sports desk.
Having played out a draw against Pakistan and suffered a loss against Japan, even a victory against the hosts might not be enough for the defending champions India to seal a spot in the knockout stage of the tournament. India's fate is not in their own hands anymore. But now, a next to impossible task awaits the Indians, as they not only have to score big against Indonesia, but also hope that Japan beat Pakistan in the other Pool A match if they are to progress to the Super 4 stage. India have a goal difference of -3 as against Pakistan's +13. If Pakistan lose to Japan, India will have to beat Indonesia by a huge margin to go past their western neighbors in goal difference and advance further in the tournament. Inexperience was a major reason behind India's below-par performances, as the young players, mainly drafted from the last Junior World Cup squad, are finding it difficult to get a measure of the level of the international hockey. With Pratyush Ghosh's report, Ravi Kumar for AIR News, Delhi.
In IPL cricket, Royal Challengers Bangalore defeated Lucknow Super Giants by 14 runs in the playoffs eliminator at Eden Gardens, Kolkata last night. With this, Bangalore booked a place in the qualifier 2, which they will play against Rajasthan Royals at Narendra Modi Stadium, Ahmedabad tomorrow. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. President Ramnath Kovind inaugurates National Conference of Women Legislators in Thiruvananthapuram, lauds the role of women in Constituent Assembly of India, of which 3 are from Kerala. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address graduation ceremony of postgraduate program of 2022 at Indian School of Business in Hyderabad, to also inaugurate several completed projects worth 2,960 crore rupees and lay foundation stones for new projects in Chennai worth 28,540 crore rupees. India's biggest drone festival, Bharat Drone Mahotsav 2022, to be inaugurated by Prime Minister tomorrow in New Delhi. Vinay Kumar Saxena takes oath as Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. Enforcement Directorate conducts raids at premises belonging to Maharashtra Transport Minister Anil Parab, also filed charge sheet against Karnataka Congress President D.K. Shivakumar and others in alleged money laundering case. In Jammu and Kashmir, 3 Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists neutralized by security forces in encounter in Kupwara district this morning. And in IPL cricket, Royal challenges Bangalore to face Rajasthan Royals in Qualifier 2 match at Narendra Modi Stadium, Ahmedabad tomorrow. And with that, we end the midday news.